This is an Appalachian Vibes mini-episode from WNCW. I'm your host, Amanda Bakke. Appalachian Vibes is a show dedicated to challenging the expectations and celebrating the diversity of music created in and around the Appalachian region. My guests this week are the Asheville, North Carolina swing Americana 5-piece outfit, the Blushin Roulettes. Today, I'm speaking with Cass and Angie, the husband and wife original duo about the farm where it all began, ghostly happenings, and Easter Lightning. Plus, we hear their latest single, 9 to 5, that just dropped on Friday.
So we're the Blushin Roulettes, and we play, our new little 4-word description is sultry, smoky, swing, and twang. We met, we lived in Mendocino, California. That's sort of where this band originated. I lived with friends who were actually in a circus, and Cass ran his family's farm called Old Mill Farm out there. You know, this is a really small town out there, and so everybody sort of met in the, the ways that country folk meet. And there was a 4th of July parade, and we put on a float that involved pigs and wigs, and that was how we met.
We had some really interesting experiences at my family's farm in Northern Cal, in Mendocino, that went on for quite a while. My mom's first husband, Chuck Hinch, who had remained on that farm after they divorced until he passed away in a tractor accident on the farm in 2000, which is back to what Angie was sort of alluding to earlier. That's how I ended up on the farm and working there, managing it. There were a lot of very strange incidents during my time there that, many of us felt like Chuck was still floating around and kind of being mischievous in different ways. Over the years, I had a lot of my dear friends live and work on the farm. And Chuck was this eccentric person. He had this great library of literature in his home, and the main farmhouse, which was this old house. And by the way, this land had been settled in the late 1800s by 2 Finnish immigrants and their families. I don't know how many dozen kids they had out there, but super remote, even by today's standards. And Chuck had this beautiful farmhouse that he built over the years, and great library. And at one point, my friend Charlie Dalton, who was living at the farm at the time, he was living in the farmhouse, and he was up at night reading in bed, and a book just fell off of the bookshelf and opened up to a page where there was like a handwritten note in it that Chuck had written. And I can't remember right now what the note was, but it was something about relationships. And that was, pretty unusual. It wasn't an earthquake or anything that caused a book to fall off of the shelf. So stuff like that,
And you also used to say, when we would come home after being away for a weekend, you would say, like, it smells like Chuck when we got back to the house after not having been there for a while.
Does your family still own that farm?
They do. Yeah, we'll be staying there when we head to California next week. Yeah, there's so much interesting history at Old Mill Farm. That just kind of reminds me of a song that Angie and I wrote together called The Legend of Easter Lightning. And about the time that I was born, Chuck had Belgian draft horses. He used to horse farm. And he had 2 sisters named Rosie and Tilly. And one of them had a colt, who was bred and had a colt that grew up on the farm. And he was born on Easter. And he had, the Belgians are these beautiful sort of honey-colored big horses with, white hair around their feet and big white manes. And Easter had this white lightning stripe down his nose. So they named him Easter Lightning. And while he was still a young horse, one night he was kind of a free roamer, and he discovered by falling into an old hand dug well that had been abandoned and covered up with boards, and then grass and everything had grown up over it and had been there for a long time and nobody knew about it. And he fell into it, and it became this huge ordeal to get him out. And they ended up bringing the tow truck out from town, and a couple of guys.
They didn't have a phone.
There was no
just
phones,
like 20
no
minutes on a
electricity.
dirt road from town. So like someone had to drive to town to call someone
To bring help.
Help.
Ended up lowering somebody down into the well and getting a rope around his neck and then pulling him out with the tow truck.
And two brave bucks, one length of road, and an old tow truck, just like a news, or so they tell.
He was like unscathed, basically. And he went on to live until the ripe old age of 34. And when I came to the farm, he was there roaming, literally free ranging around the farm, like not in an enclosure, in a pen, in a field, or anything. And, you know, I got to take care of him and sort of be his steward for the last years of his life. And it was really rewarding. I would hitch him up occasionally and just walk him up and down, you know, the road.
Because he liked to be.
He really liked, it was a working animal, and they do enjoy that. You know, we had to put Easter down at the end of his life, 34 years old, and he was buried at the farm. And so Angie and I wrote this song called The Legend of Easter Lightning. It basically tells that story in song form.
This is Blushin Roulette's latest single, 9 to 5.
9 a.m. in my 10-cent shoes. On 11th Ave, I'd get the morning news. And a dozen or so to share with the girls. Just a cog in the wheel of the working world. I was a single girl, working doubles, babe. For so little pay. But man, I hit the jackpot when we locked eyes. I'm living the high life now. That's your my 9 to 5. Now that you're my 9 to 5, I'll be the queen bee in your honey hive. It's as simple as that, it's a matter of fact. I can stock your shelf in time and a half. Get dressed to the nines. I'll paint my 10 toes bright. You'll be my jack of all trades if we play it right. And we won't get started till around midnight, where the band is hot and the neon's bright. I'll be a one-trick pony in her two-stepping shoes. Get those blues, and we'll punch out late from this little dive. We don't need no time card now. That's your my 9 to 5. Now that you're my 9 to 5, I sure ain't rich, but I've arrived. Work that keeps a girl satisfied. Don't need no time card now. That's your my 9 to 5.
That was 9 to 5 by the Blushin Roulettes on Appalachian Vibes from WNCW. Thank you to Cass and Angie. You can find their latest single, 9 to 5, on Spotify. Wake up with Appalachian Vibes every Saturday at 6 a.m. from WNCW.